Hello, everyone. We are live at the Criminally Mental Podcast. My name is Cody, or Schizophrenic Hippie, and yes, I am wearing a Batman onesie.
My name is Zach, or Zach Galloway, and I am wearing a Pikachu onesie that was bought to me by a friend. And here to introduce our show is the friend of our show, the host of the VT Network, Deadman.
Welcome to the Criminally Mental Podcast, where we talk about mental health and the criminal justice system, with your two hosts, Cody Green and Zach Galloway, currently both on parole and compassionate release. Now, here's the show.
I would listen to that man deliver terminal cancer information to a small child and would still be entertained.
What is wrong with you?
What? How is that? It's like there's anything wrong with me. That's a valid statement. His voice is a beautiful gift from God, and I'd be willing to listen to it even if that voice was telling a child that it's going to die. There's nothing strange about that.
There's nothing. Okay, yeah, there's nothing strange about that. Says the guy who just spent a week in the desert. You're a strange individual. You know that, Zach?
I don't know why you don't take me seriously, frankly.
Is it because you're in a Pikachu onesie? Maybe.
I'm in a bomb-ass Pikachu onesie. But yeah, so that was what I did this week. What did you like? Okay, so for the viewers that don't know, I took like a little bit of a vacation. I went out and made content with a friend of mine at his house, and I just took off when I did that. Admittedly, kind of, a little, I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments if you're listening. Was I the asshole? I just left town just for a little bit. I didn't think he needed to know. I mean, he's the one that does all this. He pretty much handles whatever this is. He does that. So I didn't feel any. Did you feel you needed to know, Cody? Were you concerned?
You know, it's not so much that I needed to know. It just would have been nice to be like, hey, Cody, I'm leaving for a week and a half. It's not like I needed your help with any of the other stuff. Like you said, I kind of do it all on my own. It just was like, you had me worried, man. And I think, if you read your comments, I think you'll realize you had a lot of people worried. But we're glad to see you're still alive and back. And for some reason, in a Pikachu onesie.
Because I have a Pikachu onesie. I would feel that was fairly self-explanatory.
Okay, fair enough. But no, I was going to make a video addressing it before I heard back from you, just to say that, hey, creators need time off too. Because I don't think people realize how much it takes to be a content creator sometime, just because like we're constantly letting people into our lives and we're talking to people a lot, and it can get to be a lot. So it's nice to get a few days off. I usually let people know before I leave, though.
That's only because you don't know anybody.
I have plenty of hallucinations that I know pretty well, so.
And what? They're not privy to the vacation? That's a valid question. If you go on vacation, do your hallucinations know about
it? Maybe after the fact, I suppose.
Okay, so hypothetically, if like I wanted to plan a birthday party with one of your hallucinations, could they tell you?
So like you want to plan a surprise party for me without me finding out?
Right, but I obviously want your hallucination to show up. So how would I go about that?
No, wait. Are you saying you want to throw a party without me invited and just invite my hallucinations?
What else would I be talking about right now, Cody?
I thought you meant like I thought you meant you wanted to throw me a party and like I was gonna be there, and you just didn't want my hallucinations to let me know ahead of time.
In what world did we just step into that I'm having any party and any thought involving you wasn't something to the effect of, can you bring pizza or don't be there?
I got pizza. I like parties.
You don't like pizza. You're a pizza hater. It's a well-known established fact. You're a pizza hater.
How dare you? I don't like pineapple on pizza. That's well known, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Sir, I saw you order from Pizza Hut and not get a single pizza item. You know who does that? You know who does that? I'll tell you. Fucking communists.
How dare you use what I do in my private time against me, Zachary? Think of all the things I could use against you that you do in your private time.
Name one that doesn't have a name or a noun attached to it.
That doesn't have a name or a noun attached to it. Cry in the shower.
I use the tears as lubricant. Not your business. Not your business.
Oh man. No, but seriously, you know what we do got to get doing again this week? Roast each other, because we haven't done that in a while. You know, with you abandoning the ship and not telling anyone. I was gonna put a roast out there, but then if you would have turned up dead, I would have felt really bad, so I didn't.
Oh God, I so wish you would have. If I'd found like real talk, dog. Like, if you had done like a good roast while I was taking my break without telling anybody, I would have milked that for like a month, straight up. I would have gotten my boyfriend involved. We would have made all these videos, be like, how could you sully his memory with the things you said?
He's been missing for weeks now, and this is how you remember your friend? Oh my God.
I want that to happen so badly now.
Well, and so that's why I don't roast you all the time, is because, you know, with you being an old man, you could pass away at any time. And I just don't want the last thing I say to you to be a roast, you know, with you being like, what, 80, 85?
The reality is that you can't think of roasts, so you don't come up with them on the spot. Let's be real here. You are the Subway of this fast food enterprise. Food comes out slow, and most time it wasn't what you wanted.
Okay. That was pretty good. You're right, though. I can't think of anything up on the spot, which is why I have to pre-plan my roast. Like, all I got on you that always come up on the top of my head are old jokes. And, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Well,
old jokes, gay jokes, and Jew jokes. And all three of those are kind of off limit.
Exactly.
So it does suck to be you, admittedly. I mean, it would anyway, just to wake up and see that. But, hey, Jessica's here. I love Jessica. It's so unfortunate that she has bad taste in people and liked you. But
I mean, I could say the same thing since she like kind of likes your content too.
A lot of people like my content. I'm a likable guy. I'm fucking adorable. I don't know if you've tuned in lately.
Oh man. Well, I'm sure you definitely think so, but we did have a competition coming into today. Do you remember what it was, Zach?
Okay, for the record, I still dispute that by a half inch because I wasn't able to hold the ruler for that. Okay, so I think if anything, it should have gone to a decision. I wasn't the one that backed out of the decision. Just want to say.
Zach, I'm talking about last week when we said you would pick 3 of your favorite comments from Apple Podcasts and we would read them on today's show. What were you talking about?
So let's get to those reviews on podcasts. Apple Podcasts, you said? Let me pull that up real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, I knew that you remembered, of course, and you're not definitely pulling it up right now to find a couple to read off.
It is so shocking that you think of me this way. I have found my favorite comments, sir.
All right, so just for the record, I'm going to pull them up on my computer to make sure you're just not reading the 3 most recent.
Oh, that's fucked up, dog. Why did you just do me? Whatever, fine. Yeah, okay.
But why don't you go ahead and read off your 3 favorite comments and let us know who posted them?
Okay, absolutely. So this one comes from FedExMan69. Nice. FedExMan69, awesome, says, FedEx driver. Hey guys, I'm a FedEx driver. Yeah, we could tell. And I wanted to let you guys know that what you're doing is incredible work. When Zach came across my FYP on TikTok, he was doing one of his flashbacks, and it was so intriguing to learn about his story in prison. I have learned a lot from both of you, more than I ever thought I could. Everything you guys discussed is real and raw. Being on the road, I listened to 2 podcasts, yours and Small Town Murder. That's cool. You guys are just as good as them. Keep up the fantastic work, and thank you. Thank you, FedEx driver man 69. I want to buy that tattoo and have you tattoo FedEx Man 69 on your ass, sir. So if you are listening to this podcast, DM me. We'll make it happen. I want to do that. All right. So my second favorite one is definitely also not the second one on the list. It's this podcast pessimist reevaluate their stance. I'm not really a podcast listener, but I follow you on TikTok and became very intrigued based on your content there. What you're both doing is wonderful and very important in today's day. Keep rocking. Thank you, podcast pessimist. You have a difficult name to pronounce. And then this one is just my favorite because it's so basic. This is from @MichaelMarks1 on TikTok. 5 stars and just says yes.
Yes. And that's what the title is too, isn't it?
Yeah, it just says yes. It just yes, which is really the response I want from all of you.
This is the response I want from everyone. #intrigued. Oh my God, that was amazing. But it is important to state that all of those were 5-star ratings, and we are still rated 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. So thank you guys so much for all of that. We really do appreciate all the support. It's been a kind of crazy couple, like 7 weeks now for this podcast?
Going on week 7. 7 episodes deep. What a Twainwick.
What a Twainwick. Absolutely. But do you want to introduce our guest that we have joining us today, Zach?
Absolutely. Okay, so we're super excited to have Ray here. I don't know if you know who Ray is. He's Ray Jr. on TikTok. We'll have his ad here at the bottom. He's a prison TikToker, so he's on Prison Talk, Felon Talk. Just such a genuine, down-to-earth guy. If any of you guys don't follow him already, I strongly suggest you do, because he just tells you like it is. Very, very raw, very appreciated stuff. So we're very happy to have him on the show. Please welcome with a long round of applause, Ray.
Hey, man, how's it going?
Hey, guys, thanks for having me.
Why didn't you clap? I just said round of applause, Cody, and you gave nothing. Like, well, I'm bringing the energy to the table, and you're like, nah, I don't want it. What's going on?
If it comes to one of us requesting something for the podcast and the other not doing it, am I really the underperformer in this conversation?
I think so. In this case, you definitely are, because I said round of applause, and then I just look like a mook. You know, I look like when Lorne Michael tries to do the own monologue to the open of SNL. It's terrible.
It is terrible. And that goes along with the whole energy you were bringing. So I'm happy to be a part of it. Anyways, thanks for joining us today, Ray.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you.
So, Ray, as we mentioned, we bring creators on here and we talk to them. And I mean, you're a part of something that we're doing on TikTok. A bunch of big creators have kind of gotten together and kind of try to put a coalition together of those of us out there who can call people out for being child predators on TikTok. You've gotten involved. Cody's got involved calling a lot of people. But you're having some issues with reporting people. Is that right?
That is absolutely right. It seems like whenever I would bring up a child predator, make a stitch or a duet or call them out, my video gets down for bullying and harassment. Meanwhile, they're still up. You know, it is a persistent problem, it seems like.
And Cody, you you talk to people. It's funny. Someone in the room just made a comment. Cody, you've dealt with the same problem, right? People, I don't know, like shut down your videos, report it for bullying whenever you call out a child predator on TikTok.
Yeah, and I mean, we can all attest to the fact that we've been getting tagged in a lot of videos. Like, I thought I understood how many child predators were on TikTok, and I had no idea now that we're being tagged in all these videos. But every time we make a video about it, we get, videos shut down. Every time I post a video about Eric B. Zink, who our, I believe, 4th podcast was about, or at least started off about, I see those videos taken down constantly, no matter what I say, even if it's not hateful or directed at him necessarily, just trying to help people be more aware. They get removed. And I know you both have experienced the same thing too.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to bring it up because I kind of did my own little social experiment. So I tried because I'm in the same boat as Ray. I got tons of people DMing me, tagging me in videos. just showing people being child predators. And whenever I duet them or stitch it, immediately gets taken down, like you said. So I duetted and stitched a couple that just had that were Eric B. Zinks, essentially. He still hasn't blocked us, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
I just did a couple that all it did was stitch, and it put up a black screen, and it just put up the fucking link to our expose that we did on him, and even that got taken down.
Yeah.
So I think what we might want to do is, since we're all also on Instagram, is kind of use that platform to bring attention to people who are behaving like predators on TikTok, just because they can't really monitor us over there.
Yeah. I also take down all the videos, or I don't take them down. I take all the videos I make about those people and those predators and upload them to my Patreon as well, because I have a decent group of followers on there, and they can help spread the message from there. So
that is so we all need to do that.
Okay.
But Ray, why don't you take a moment and just tell us a bit about yourself? Tell us about your channel. Tell us what you do, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I'm 26 years old. So I went to federal prison 2016, about like 21 years old. I served about 46 months in fed prison. After I got out, I was supposed to get married, man, and unfortunately she ended up leaving and going off with somebody else. And I came across TikTok as more of a just kind of distraction type of thing, man. So just to be distracted away from her. Because think about it, man. I got out of a prison, which was a bad environment, came out, expected this is the love of my life, and she ended up leaving. So it was just problems after problems. So I used TikTok just kind of distract me and scrolling. And I came across a few, prison TikTok. And I said, you know what? This would probably be a good idea to kind of tell my story, journey, And it just instantly just kind of just went up from there, So the heartbreak and kind of led me to TikTok in a way, no, I've been definitely posting content each and every day. If it's just answering questions or telling prison stories, even though there's so much of us right now. Before I was kind of hesitant to do that, but now that's just prevalent. And why not? Why we all have a story, So that's part of it.
It can be a little scary to do that. I mean, I kind of did a similar thing with TikTok, where it became a mediatory device for me to kind of like welcome myself back to the universe. I mean, let's be fair. I did it at first to, be hot and be a thirst trap, and that didn't turn out. But
definitely didn't work out.
Shut up, Cody. Nobody likes you. Anyway.
Well, I'm just saying, like, how are you doing thirst traps when you have to have a cane? At your age, that's got to be dangerous to try to throw it back.
First of all, if you had gone to my haberdashery with me, you would understand the importance of accessories in a man's ensemble. So let's not play that game, Sir Batman Onesie, looking like you haven't smelled or showered in a month. Unbelievable.
I actually just got out of the shower, but
actually, in all reality, your hair does look lovely. Have you been doing something differently?
I think people always ask me about my hair care routine.
Why would you answer that question? What are you thinking right now?
Because I knew it would bother you. I knew you would instantly flip out. But so my question for Ray, if you're done wanting to hear your own voice for a little bit, Zach, is my question for Ray is one that I ask a lot of the people who come on here that do prison TikToks or anything to do with felonies, stuff like that, is if you could change one thing about the prison system or the justice system, what would it be, and why specifically is that important to you?
Okay, if I could change one system, I mean, variety of things, but if I feel like overall is programming really could control, focused on mental health counseling, man. Unfortunately, the prison system is just really focused on warehousing us. That's it. Okay, but you got to understand, our sentence is going to be up. We will be in a free world one day. So there is no programming or mental health counseling to really focus on the underlying issue. In fact, I firmly believe that PTSD post-incarceration is definitely a real thing, man. And this is something I personally have been dealing with since I've been home. I'm happy that I'm home, but there's just this sense of just like, you got this weight on you, and just you're not okay after you come home. So if I can definitely change one thing, it would definitely be focusing more on mental health counseling, man.
I love that.
That's a really good point. I mean, like I've never shared this story. I don't think on any platform, and I think probably Ray is similar for you. When you got home, like for me, I was so oh my god, man, I was so excited in that release pod and everything. I was so excited on that outdoor. I was like planning my meals. I'm like, I'm gonna close Sizzler down. I'm getting out of here. I'm closing Sizzler. Is Sizzler even a thing anymore? Wow. Anyway, but then I got picked up, and my grandma picks me up, and I'm still excited, and I'm so jazzed. And we like go through Burger King for the first time, and for I don't even remember how long. And then suddenly, crippling terror hit me. I mean, worse than the first day in crippling terror. You know, that sort of like, oh God, I'm fucked. I'm fucked in this world. I don't know what to do. I would have loved for there to be some sort of preparation for that moment, because I basically almost broke down and started crying in front of my grandmother. It was just, yeah.
The same exact thing. You got that initial high when you come home, you know, it wears off. Next thing, reality really sets in of all the time you lost, how much of things have changed. You got it seems like you got all the odds stacked against you, you know? And then it's just the same thing that happened to me, man. I really just slipped into a bad depression, man. Oh my God. And then on top of the nightmares, flashbacks, and you know, and people are like, just get over it. You served your time already. Just get over it. No, it's not like that. It didn't work that way, man. You know? I just wish they would have really focused, like helped us more when we come home, rather than just say, okay, you're done. Get out of here, you know?
It would have been so. I mean, like, think of. I know for me, if I would have just, because I mean, like, I had some old heads take me aside and be like, "Hey, listen, you're getting out. You know, like, you know, this is what's up. You know, keep your head level." Like, yeah, I had some old heads come up to me and do that. Don't get me wrong, but if someone had taken me aside in like a classroom setting and said, "Hey, listen, the most terrifying moment of your life is going to occur to you when you're getting out of here and you've got a Whopper in your hand in the car going home," I would have loved. And I would have loved being aware of that, because that was not a position I was prepared for. I was terrified.
Exactly.
I was like, freaking out.
Well, and Zach,
go ahead.
Yeah, Zach made a really good point too. I would argue that the day I went in was just as stressful as the day I got out, because like you guys just said, every moment, and I think this ties to what Ray was also saying about mental health. You spend so much of the time in jail or prison thinking about what you did, what you could do better, how you could be better, what you want to do when you get out. And then when you're like ready to get out, there's all this that you want to accomplish and want to do. And you're like, how do I take those first steps? What am I actually going to be able to accomplish? Am I just going to be back in here? And so it is really overwhelming to get out and just have everything in front of you and be like, well, good luck.
Exactly. And on top of that, you have that conviction on you, and you're already looked at in a certain type of way. So that's a whole other thing. Their whole thing was before I got out was, okay, better not pick up another guns or drugs anymore. Okay, we understand that. That's not going to happen anymore. Okay, but everything else, man, you know, I was not prepared for it. I was not prepared for it, man.
Well, there's so many little things that because like you sit in your bunk before you're released for weeks, months, thinking about that day, thinking about what you know what situation I never ran through my head? Was when I picked up that phone when I got home and I went to call my homies, the ones who I know that I've been thinking about, and like it'd been years since I've seen them, and like, holy shit, we're going to get together and do all these things. They barely remembered who I was, dog.
Yeah.
Right.
I was not ready for that heartbreak. I wasn't. I was like, bro, I've been thinking about you guys like nonstop for the past years. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's Tuesday and you have lives and you're married now? Okay, that's cool. Cool, man. That's cool. Yeah. No. Yeah, we'll do it another time, bro. Yeah. Like I wasn't ready for that. That was rough.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Yeah, it seems like when I was inside, it felt like time stopped, but went on the same time. You know, I don't know how to kind of explain, like it was still moving, but it stopped. I was just thinking my 4 years in prison. I didn't think 4 years out here, you know, how much things have changed. People have changed, man. So right in the same boat.
And I guess the question is, how do you get people ready for that? I mean,
Right.
Realistically, I can't think of nothing I've ever done. You know, I was in the streets for a long time before I got locked up. I was never prepared for moments like that.
Well, and like I don't know. Me and Zach always talk about what we would change if we were in charge of like the criminal justice system, and no matter what, preparing someone for something like that is difficult. You can't really teach a class about it, like, because it's going to be different for everyone too. depending on how long you were in, what you went in for, you know, what kind of resources you have when you get out. I had my fiance and my family waiting for me when I got out. Not everyone has that. So my circumstances were different than a lot of people's. And so it's, I mean, how do you prepare for such different circumstances?
I honestly feel like, man, it's really still focused on, like, you have things called halfway house in the feds. I'm not sure how it is in state, but the halfway house, their whole thing when I went there was just accountability. There was no even like more programming or like special counselors in case I can put you up on that, put you up on a job or housing if you need something like that. You know, their whole thing was, here's your pass, you better be back in time. That's it though, you know? So it was just really the overall system, man, the overall thing. So that's how I mean, that's just my take on that one.
I mean, I would love to push towards, you know, rehabilitation instead of punishment, because I think we all know punishment just doesn't really work that well. But I think the thing that I come to every time, the brick wall, is reality is that we would have to rehabilitate legitimately our society as a fucking whole at this point. Because there are, I mean, I don't know about you, Ray, but when I was in that life and I was doing what I was doing, there's no way I would have stopped doing what I was doing. You couldn't tell me shit. You couldn't tell me shit. You could come with proof, evidence, paperwork, would have told you to fuck off. And that's just how the life is. And if you have that upbringing, and if that's what you've been doing for so long, like, I don't know what rehabilitation other than sometimes that fuck you shock to the system of, okay, now I can't see the people I love for a long time. And I'm not a fan of prison either. It's just, that's the question I have. Like, what do we do with these types?
I honestly feel like, I was saying, before I got indicted and arrested, my people were telling me the same. Either two things going to happen to you. You're going to die or you're going to prison. 21, I thought I had the world figured out. I said, man, you can't tell me anything. I honestly feel like maybe like some type of Scared Straight program, or just some type of mentorship, man, where you can bring in ex-cons or whomever and talk to these kids and let them know, man, to really kind of drill it in them. That people that's been that life, you know, and been through the consequences of it. Maybe, just maybe, it might change. It might inspire somebody, you know, not even just counseling, maybe more opportunities for them to, you know, find a better job, or, hey, you know, start up like a sports kind of organization or group, do something else in their life rather than just being on the streets all day, every day, you know? So maybe just some type of mentorship thing, man. That's how I would try to assume it.
Well, yeah, that's really awesome. I think those are all really good steps. I would like to see an improvement of mental health care and addiction recovery. And I think that would prevent a lot of people from going in, because like me and Zach have talked about, I would argue more people in prison are in need of mental health facilities and recovery clinics. And Zach was just mouthing it over there, because I say this so much, but I do really get sick of it, because when you go in, anyone who's been to a jail or prison can't argue that statement. I would love to hear someone try to argue that, because whether you like it or not, the people in jail that you're seeing are either addicts, they're mentally ill, or some people just are bad people. But there's so many people in there that are just really struggling with other issues that probably could have avoided the situation that put them in jail or prison.
You want to hear a fun fact? Before I was sentenced, the feds sent me for a competency hearing to see if I was competent to stand trial. They sent me to a federal medical center. It's a psych ward. And you literally came across so many inmates with problems. And you know what the feds are doing? Just stuffing them with meds. They're just being completely absolute zombies, man. Absolute. They don't even know what they actually did to be in that position, but they're just drugging it up, man. You know. So yeah. That's another thing I wanted to kind of touch on there as well.
There's that's a great topic to touch on, because I think people have this opinion that if you are arrested with mental health issues, that, you know, there's this part of the county or prison that you go to that's like a hospital, right? You know, it's got hospital beds, and there's like smiling doctors and nurses, and they're like, oh, what's wrong with you, sir? Like, no, you're fucked. You are so fucked. Yeah. You're so fucked. Like, even if you're in a facility where, you know, they're going to do the basic minimum, like feed you and shit like that, you know, the reality is you're just in a less looked after jail. Absolutely. Like, you are like, people already don't give a shit about convicts. You're now asking them to give a shit about convicts that are mentally ill. And that should be something that should be an easy thing for everyone to do. Someone should be able to say, you know what, that's a man who may not be in control of what he's doing. He's sick. He needs treatment. But for some reason, we as a society can't wrap our minds around that. I mean, it hasn't been 100 years since we got it through our heads that like maybe women should vote too. So like I'm like I get it. We're on a curve. You know, it's a slow curve, but still.
Well, part of that is still about how we view mental health and addiction. There's still people who argue addiction isn't a mental health issue, which it absolutely is. There's still people who look at mental health as something that, you know, either you need to toughen up or you could have avoided it, which based on developing schizophrenia at the age of 19, I would strongly disagree. But it's about our entire view of what I would call disenfranchised people who are, you know, looked at as lesser than because of their mental health, their criminal record, and, you know, things that, I mean, we've all had experience, but a lot of people haven't.
Absolutely.
So here's a question for you, Ray. So you work at a pizza shop. You basically are, you know, the main head there at this point. I think all of us have faced some difficulty with interacting with people when you get let out. I still do. I have a hard time. I don't leave my house very much unless it's to go chill with my homie in the desert. Like that's about it. You left prison and you went to a halfway house, but apparently have jumped right into customer fucking service, which in my mind, like I can't do that now. I can't imagine doing customer service like as soon as I got out. Are you out your mind? You're out of your mind.
Man. Yeah. Great point, man. It's because, you know, there's a sense of like, there's this mindset that you have in prison, you know, like they don't have it out here, with respect, with mannerisms, the way you approach people. For example, you'll interact with somebody, say something so small that they don't know, that they probably don't know any better. All of a sudden it's disrespectful, might be even fighting words, man. You see people get pummeled for that kind of stuff. For example, you know, that's that's part of it right there. Or and just the way, man, I can go on and on and on about that, bro. It's just you're still trying to get rid of that mindset, but at the same time, man, it's tough, man. People walking too close to you and just little things. Oh my God, just real subtle things, man.
That personal space issue is still such a fucking thing with me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's like people don't realize, if you're listening to this and you've never been incarcerated, and if you think you have personal space issues now,
oh yeah,
you will develop some serious issues. I mean, the first time, like, I think I was out and somebody came up and they put their hand on my shoulder, but they did it like a fucking CEO. They reached over and I felt the first 3 tips of the finger on my shoulder blade, and I was like, oh! And my immediate reaction was to just go into one of those, like, all right, you know, you got me, you know, one of those.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're in the middle of Walmart, you know, and my grandma's like, so do you want whole milk? Like,
Dude, I have had a driver a few months ago, actually, man. He had a problem with every time he wanted my attention, like kind of like tap me on my back. And I told him, I said, hey, look, man, don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? He did it one more time. And I just kind of like instantly reacted to it, you know? And I told him numerous times, I said, look, bro, just don't touch me, please. You know, don't walk up behind me. None of that, man. So I see exactly what you're talking, because you go into fight or flight mode when that happens. You really do.
Exactly.
You really
well,
do. Yeah.
I can actually think of a scenario. I don't know. I don't talk about this a lot on a podcast here, but I run a nonprofit that helps people with criminal records get jobs. And I had someone who had spent 13 years for, I don't know what the charge was, but he made it sound like it was attempted murder or something like that. And and so he left my office one day and he left something behind. So my dumbass, I wasn't thinking about it and I should know better. But my first instinct was to chase him down, grab his shoulder, and just because he had headphones in, he couldn't hear me. So I got to get this to him. And it was his wallet or something. And I grabbed his shoulder and he turned around and I thought he was going to just destroy me. And you saw it in his eyes where he was like, oh, I'm in the real world again. Like I can't just destroy this guy on the street. And I apologized right away because I saw it in his face. And it's hard to like remember that stuff, even like after you get out. Some of it is instinctual, but I think some of it starts to go away. And so like it's hard. And if you've never been a part of it, I'm sure it's stuff you would never think of, you know, like Zach said, the personal space thing. I'm sure people don't even consider that.
there's like an array of things that people say on the outs that you just would never say, even as a joke.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've had so many. Like seriously, my boyfriend has stopped me from murdering people a few times. Like, casually call someone a punk. I mean, like I would, or casually call someone a punk or a bitch, and it's like, bro.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And it's just like I would just beg, just please do not call me a bitch, man. Please don't. It just kicks in, bro. It really does. It just kicks in. So
I still kind of get that way with my boyfriend sometimes. And I'll tell people, especially because this young generation, they throw like I even say the B word. Like that's me. Because like I don't, like I'll do it in my content with characters and stuff, but on the street every day, like I just have a problem because it sends me into that fucking place. Like somebody asked me what my problem was the other day, and they legit. But there's the thing, they actually meant what, like they were concerned about me. They were like, "What is your problem?" My response was not to one of my friend asking me what my problem was.
Those are pre-fight questions right there. Well, and I think Ray brought up a really interesting point that people that haven't been to jail or prison probably don't understand. And that's, even though you hear of like stabbings and fights, we have a level of respect for the other people in there, a little bit because, you don't know who you're messing with, but also because it's just, we're all in a shitty situation. And so when you said that, I was like, it's one of those things you don't even realize, but it seems like inmates do have a certain amount of respect for each other, unless they're, chomos or something. We all have to respect each other because we're all stuck in the same bullshit situation. And I've seen people underestimate when they treat someone like shit too, though, the wrong person.
Yeah.
At least in federal prison, those, I don't know how state, you kind of had like a sense of order. Like you had your reps, you had your spokespeople. So even like any type of disagreement, it's not necessarily settling into blows. Sometimes you'll have like politicking going on where two opposing cars would dialogue and talk it out. So, so there's this kind of, like you said, there's this kind of, we can disagree on each other on political views or be completely different race, but you have that respect for men. It's about being a man first, So yeah, definitely.
I've tried to explain this to some other people. The reality is, if pushed, a prisoner, an ex-convict, a felon, whatever, will fight. He will. He absolutely will. Probably pretty decent at it. But we're the last people that want to, because we've seen it. We have a respect for what happens. I mean, you ask any inmate, Jimmy, how many times he saw politics talked out instead of smashed out. It's a lot. It's because people who have been in our situations, I've seen people get stabbed. I've been stabbed. I don't want anybody else to go through that. I understand what those realities of life are, and it's people who've never dealt with that, who say things like, this is something that bothers me. Like, oh yeah, it's going to be another civil war. We're going to kick some ass. It's like, bro, you wouldn't last 5 minutes. Like, you wouldn't last 5.
Zach, are you telling me that 12-year-old kid in my comments who plays Fortnite all the day would not be prepared for a civil war? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
Wait, are we talking about Justin though? I mean,
it wasn't actually like a specific 12-year-old kid. I was just, because those are always the ones you see it from,
No. But yeah, I think it's because we respect what the reality of that is. It's not a joke.
They don't understand the consequences behind it. There's consequences for your guys' actions. So like you said, we've seen it. We've seen the downside of it. So you're right.
Well, and that's the other thing, is we all understand what consequences come with certain actions, because we've had to, pay for our mistakes and get back out and try to rebuild our lives. And anyone who's getting out of jail or prison knows it's not just getting out, getting right back into life like nothing happened. Usually when you go in, there's people you screwed over when you went in, or people who think you screwed them over, or there's people who have it out for you. There's, cops who don't want to see you back in their town. It's a whole list of things that are going to be hurdles when you get out, and it's shit people don't think of until they have to go through it.
Exactly. You know, you made an excellent point. It's just, it seems like a lot of times when you come out of prison, it's just like the odds are against you, man. When you, whatever you can think of, it's just so much against you. So essentially, you're not necessarily just serving a sentence, your punishment in prison. Essentially, it's like society wants us to serve it for the rest of our lives. Like we have a life sentence.
Yeah.
More or less. More or less.
Yeah.
Now, I am curious. Did you start working at the pizza place directly afterwards, or was that through the halfway house, or how'd that work?
The halfway house would not let me, you know, because it was basically basically a own business. They wanted you to have somebody to write your checks, somebody be responsible for you, you know. So I worked at a mechanic shop for a few months, you know, picked up a little bit of trade, I guess, you know. And
Fair.
yeah.
So you did porn. You did porn for a couple months. That's good. Respect that.
Zach, he didn't say he was laying pipe. I just want to make sure that you heard. Did you stop listening after he started talking there?
I fade in now.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. So we've been getting a request from a lot of our viewers, because me and Zach do this thing called Two Truths and a Lie. And we've been getting a request to do that with some of our guests. So I did, you know, we talked about this a little bit beforehand. So just so you guys know, I'm not throwing them on the spot here. But if that's something you'd be willing to try out, me and Zach would give it a shot, just, you know, for bragging rights, to see who could guess, you know, what's true and what's a lie. Because I think, you know, we've known each other for about 40 minutes now, and I think I can tell when you're lying. Zach's beaten me a couple times, but that's because he cheats. So
okay,
because I want to win.
Fair enough. Let's see. One, I absolutely love pizza. Two, I never been on a plane. Three, I guess I've been married. So there you go. Or I have never been married. Yeah.
Well, I feel like the way you turned back on that last one.
Yeah, that was
suspect. But being on a plane is pretty common. So that one could easily be true.
Okay.
I don't know. What are you thinking, Zach? Which way are you leaning?
Okay, so obviously he loves pizza. So
I don't know. I made cheese for a long time, and I don't necessarily love cheese. That could be a trap.
We're going to address the fact that apparently at one point in time you were a cheesemaker in your life. So we're going to talk about that. But secondly, I think you're doing what you did with mine, and you're going after the one you think is wrong. And remember what I always tell you, if you think it's right, it's probably wrong. So we're going to go with but okay, so never been on a plane. That's interesting. Let me ask you a question about that. Where's your family from?
Originally, like Jordan area, the Middle East.
No, you racist dick. I mean, we're in the States.
Oh, Michigan. Oh,
God.
But I'm first generation born here, though, so that's why I had perceived that way.
I know. I kind of set you up with that. I just wanted to call you a racist dick.
Fine. Fair enough.
I would argue if he's got parents like outside of the country, you're telling me your parents have never brought you back to where they're from ever?
Yeah, that's rough. Even I've been to Jordan, and I'm a fucking Jew.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead, guys.
I don't know.
That's rough.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking the plane one's a lie, because just if you have family from outside the country, I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm just not.
Consider this alternatively. Okay. The other one was about him never being married. Correct. Okay, so follow me here. So he first made a statement that he had to go back on. He had to come back and say, I've never been married. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So follow with me. If he made that statement, that means that he had to go back, think about it, and this is the best time to tell you that I don't have the money for this month's payment for the service.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. That was perfect.
No. In all seriousness, I think that one's the truth because he had to go back in time and clarify. That's my
Yeah.
guess.
So here's the question. Have you ever been like engaged or close to being married? Because for you to bring that up makes me think there almost had to be something there.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. That's when I said at the beginning, the beginning of the podcast, supposed to,
Okay.
supposed to, yeah.
Thanks for bringing up that obviously painful injury.
Very. Oh man, reopened a lot of wounds. Yeah,
He's the worst fucking Batman ever.
Bro, we talk about our times in prison and shit. I didn't think a breakup was
but
gonna
you know
be
what's so
the
funny though? The most pain, honestly, it was what's worse. What was really worse was kind of dealing with that heartbreak, though, man. Honestly, because at least I adapted to kind of in prison. This girl, she ruined like kind of my ability to love, man, and trust, and that's crazy, bro. You know?
It is
okay.
That's a really good point to bring up because we don't do relationships. We either do them well or not well at all after we get released.
Yeah.
But to recap, that was the worst Batman moment ever. You're like the Batman. you're like the Batman who breaks into the bank that's being robbed, and he goes up to one of the hostages, like, "Why didn't your father love you?" And he's like, "Why didn't your father love you? Tell me why he never loved you."
Please recount the most terrible thing you've ever been through for me.
Relive your worst trauma. Relive your worst trauma on this podcast show. That's
I mean, I think I have a guess, and I'm gonna blow past the me traumatizing him by making him bring that back up.
Yeah.
And so, are you ready to guess that? Because I don't think we're gonna have the same guess.
all right. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay, so my guess is that the plane one is a lie.
Yes.
That is also my guess.
Yeah, I went on Con Air. Yeah, I went on plane. Yeah, that's the feds. That's how they transport you via air market.
Obviously I had to be Con Air, so yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that, to be honest. I was just, like with your family, have you been on a plane like back to where they're from or anything like
One
that?
time when I was like 12 years old. That was a very long time ago. Yeah.
But see, I
Yeah.
figured there was at least one time. I kind of figured that. So
Dude, if you were in Jordan when you were 12, there's a good chance that we were in the Middle East together as kids.
Really?
So which is kind of funny. Yeah.
bro, there's no way Ray is like 80 years old. He's too young. And like, I mean, you're talking about different generations here, man.
You know what's funny to me? It has been 2 weeks since I made you shave that atrocious monstrosity that was on your face, and yet I see no stubble. What's going on?
There's stubble.
Where? I don't. Ray, do you see any stubble? No, Ray doesn't see any either. It's weird.
Would you guys stop being so mean about my beard? Why are
It
you
takes
like
time.
this, Zach?
It takes time.
It does, and testosterone, one of which you have.
Hey Zach, have I told you today how much I hate you? Because it's a lot.
Not yet today.
So we do have about 10 minutes left. Would you be comfortable taking some questions from people we have live with us today?
Yeah, go for it. I'd love that.
Awesome. So if you guys have any questions about, any of Ray's story, let us know because we got him here. We got quite a bit of time left, and I'm sure he'd be pumped to answer any questions. Zach, do you have any last-minute questions for him?
Yes, Ray, what of our merch did you buy this last week? Because we have a merch store. Oh, so professional. Well, that's
I have to look into it.
Glorious.
I'm gonna look into that. I promise you, Zach, I will look into the merch. You got
Okay,
my word on that. Yeah.
perfect. That I'm gonna say, Zach, that was flawless. Chef's kiss. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. So the first question is, oh wait, that was not the question I was trying to click on. How long were you in the halfway house?
So total about 60 days. Then I did 4 months on home confinement. Yeah.
Home confinement, like ankle bracelet, or I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Ankle bracelet. Yeah. They put you on an ankle bracelet, and you're still technically in custody, but you serve out your remaining sentence at home. So 2
Okay.
months in a halfway house. Yeah.
So, as someone who's never been in a halfway house, like what was that experience like for you? Would you have preferred to serve the last 2 months in, like obviously probably not in prison, but like I'm just wondering because I don't know like how strict they are, what kind of regulations they have. I don't really know much about halfway houses.
Every halfway house is different, but mine was probably the most strictest one. As soon as I got there, they would not let me move for 2 weeks without any pass. So it was like kind of basically letting myself back in jail after tasting that sweet freedom for X amount of hours. Okay. Their whole thing is to try to readapt you back to society. And good though, I was kind of already blessed in a good position already. You know what I'm saying? But really what it is really about accountability, finding you a job. They let you give you social passes, home passes, hygiene passes, but it was tough because you experience that freedom and then you go right back in, so mentally it was kind of tough for me though. It was.
Yeah, that does seem like it would be a little difficult. Like you said, you got a couple hours taste of freedom, and then they're like, "Hey, welcome back to a different version of incarceration."
Yeah. Oh man, I was so close to telling them just send me back, man. I'll just finish these last months back there, man. Man, it was atrocious.
Bro, I got sent to a religious halfway house. So it was contracted, it was contracted with county and state, religious halfway house. I got a citation as a 28-year-old man for masturbating.
Yeah.
That was the real thing. That was a real thing. Okay, so like I had relapsed and I used in the house. So I got called into like the pastor and the assistant pastor's office. And I full on thought that was going to be about that. I thought they're going to be like, hey, we found your stash. We're violating you. Boom, you're back. No, these motherfuckers want to sit down and be like, so what you doing with your phone in the bathroom for so long? What's going on there? Which is a super uncomfortable conversation to have.
Easy, watching TikToks. That's what you say.
That doesn't make it better. That makes me look bad.
True. So this next question is you're on the Criminally Mental podcast, and we know you did mention mental health. What's your title, like mental health? Because I know you have talked about it before. I've seen a few of your videos where you did mention it.
One of the big things on my TikTok, at least, I really do preach PTSD after prison and prison reform in regards to mental health. This is something I've been kind of like spewing and putting out there, which, like I said, it's really a big thing that needs to be centered and focused on. So it's just something I've been doing, something I've been experiencing anyway with depression, anxiety, PTSD. So it just makes it all much easier for me to explain it. Definitely.
Awesome. So I think I got one more question up here for you, and is what is something you took for granted before you went to jail or prison?
Oh, listen, I can sit there and say freedom, but obviously family, privacy, just having your own time, food, wearing your own clothes. I mean, just so many little things. Not having to wear shower shoes in the shower. Just so many little things we take for granted out here, man. I can give you a whole book of things, man, but definitely is really your freedom first and foremost. It's really the little things, man. Really the little things.
How many times did you guys think about fast food while you were incarcerated? Like the amount of times I thought about like, and I know it seems like such a silly thing because like, you're right, family, all that stuff, but also like you just said, the little things too. I would think about like fast food, or I don't know, even like playing video games, because I'm a huge video game person. So like the little things that you never thought would be that big of a deal, like because you're out and you don't utilize them every second of every day. But once you don't have the opportunity to utilize any of those things anymore, then it's just the first thing you think about, it seems like.
Facts. I miss really home cooking, man. Middle Eastern dishes.
Oh my God.
I miss that so much, man.
Just
make spreads. Yeah.
Are you telling me that prison food didn't meet your expectations of home cooking?
It did not. I said I would make spread. It did not meet the expectations, Oh, man. Yeah. That's definitely
Here's a question for you
guys. Sorry, 1 second before you ask this, Zach. Do either of you guys follow Justin Demented on TikTok? The guy who makes like spreads and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, prison meals.
Yeah, the prison.
Yeah.
So every time I see that, I'm like, bro, you're out. Why are you still making that shit? You could go eat anything right now.
Have you guys ever gotten like, I don't know, nostalgic and like tried to make a spread? Or if I did that the other day. I did. Like I got the ramen, I got the chunched up chicharrones, I got them all going in the kitchen, like fucking. I got the Cheez-Its all ground up into the little paste,
Oh
putting it on.
no!
Whole 9 yards, dog. Whole 9 yards. And I sat down and like I go to take the first bite, and I'm thinking it's gonna taste just like it did, but I tasted. This is the worst thing in a very long. I used to get so psyched for those. Oh my gosh! Like today's spicy bean day, commissary. Like we're down. Like it's happening. We're doing these spreads,
Oh no!
But you got to remember when you're in, that's all you got to look forward to. It's like I could Uber Eats 10 different restaurants to my house right now.
Right.
And that's.
Exactly.
It's so weird though, but that's such a good question. But seriously, man, we really appreciate you being on here with us today. And I'm sure Zach and I would love to have you back. I would anyway. Zach, he's kind of interesting.
I would love it.
No,
I appreciate you guys.
He was great to talk to, and he's better than you. I know it's a low bar, but that's what it's for me. So, that's where I set him.
And honestly, though, it's nice talking to people about prison and mental health, because that's something me and Zach both can understand. It's something that obviously with this podcast that we went in wanting to do. So I personally really appreciate your tie to both sides of that, and so I think it'd be awesome to have you back to talk about it again.
I'd love that. It would be an honor.
And for those of you guys who aren't aware of who this gentleman is, this is Ray from TikTok. I'm waiting for the thing to go by so I can read it out. But I believe his TikTok tag is Ray Jr. 039. He does great content. Obviously, he's a friend of the show. And like we say with everyone, we try to make this if everyone who's listening to the podcast was just listening to the three dudes talk in a car, that's what it'd be like. And I think we definitely got that with you, Ray. So definitely mission accomplished there, brother.
No, I appreciate it, guys. This was awesome. It was an honor. It really was. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it.
Good.
Yeah, and thank you so much. We really appreciate having you. And make sure you guys tune in next week for our guest, Dr. Kojo. We are going to be having him. Yeah, we're going to be having him join us. And then we already got people lining up for the next couple weeks. So we got a lot of awesome guests joining us.
Awesome. And Kevin, if you're listening, our next guest next week, Dr. Kevin, we're super happy to have you on. We both love your content, so really excited about seeing you there, man.
But seriously, thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure that you check us out on all streaming platforms. If you weren't able to catch the full show today, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Seriously, thank you all so much, and we will see you next week at the same time.
All right, stay safe, guys.
Stay woke, sheeple.